Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Baptiste. I'm the founder of Dream Smart Tutors. I thought I would do a video today to really just give you an insight into my career path and my personal story. So, who is Dr. Baptiste? So I grew up in Waltham Forest, East London, and I always knew that I wanted to be a doctor, a medical doctor. And for me, this was because of a number of different reasons, really. One was I love learning from a young age. I just loved acquiring knowledge. And then for me, medicine was one of those careers where I could apply that knowledge and use that knowledge to help people. And ultimately, a lot of people who go into medicine, you will hear that they say they want to help people. The other things were, I guess, opportunities. I saw there was a great opportunity to travel and to have and get into other careers. So that would be like teaching, for instance, which is something that I do now. So now I'm going to talk about my career path. So when did it all start? Where did it all begin? So as I said, I've always wanted to be a doctor, and since I realised that everything I did at school, outside of school, was really geared up to getting into medical school and being a doctor ultimately. So I studied at a comprehensive school. It was obviously a little bit difficult in terms of the support that I didn't really get, just because comprehensive schools still to this day don't have many applicants to medicine, and therefore their experience and their knowledge of the process is actually not as much relative to maybe more independent schools. So it was a little bit of a struggle, but I did have very supportive parents who helped me in a number of different ways to get all the experience and get all the things I needed to apply to medical school. I got into UCL, which was an amazing day, and I was so ecstatic. And I started my medical degree in 2007. It was 6 years. Partway through, like a number of medical schools, you can do a BSc, so you can take a year out and pursue another topic. So I did speech science and communication, which, as it says, is all about learning about speech, gestures, communication essentially. I did that for a year, and then I went back to the medical degree and completed my degree, and I finished and I became a doctor in 2013, and that's when the real work began basically. So I was posted to Whips Cross Hospital and then Southend Hospital for my second year as a foundation doctor, and it was a really intense time. It was an adjustment. There were things that, although I was on the ward as a medical student, I didn't really know. So I didn't really know about how intense on-calls may have been. And I felt towards the end of that year I was really kind of burned out really. I was tired. I felt I wasn't seeing my family as much as I wanted to. I also felt like I wasn't really learning as much as I'd hoped, for a number of reasons really. I mean, I was tired a lot of the time. Things were really fast paced, and staffing issues. So I felt like my learning was a little bit stunted over those 2 years. I mean, there were obviously some good points, but for me, I think overall, I felt like it wasn't what I had kind of signed up for, and it was a little bit disheartening. I was disappointed, and I decided to take a year out of my training to decide, is medicine for me? Now I keep banging on about the fact that I always wanted to be a doctor. So can you imagine, put yourself into my shoes, realizing that actually, up from 4 years old you wanted to be a doctor, and then being a doctor and actually working as a doctor, and then realizing that actually maybe this isn't for me. Have I made the right decision? And it was during my year out when I got back to being who I really was, doing all the creative things that I like to do, and just getting sleep and taking time for myself and going and networking and going to events, medical and non-medical events, and speaking to other people. I realized that I still wanted to be a doctor. And it wasn't me that was necessarily the issue, it was the system. And by the system, I mean the NHS and the way it was set up, and a lot of the staffing problems, political issues that I realised and I learned about when I was a foundation doctor. So for me, that was a really crucial time, because it allowed me to realise that actually the passion was still there and I hadn't lost it. And the next question I had to then think about and ask myself was, okay, so I know I still want to be a doctor, but how am I going to go back into this system when I actually don't particularly like it too much? So I felt that I needed to complete my training. I wanted to complete my training. I didn't want to be a junior doctor forever, and I looked into loads of specialties, and I felt that general practice was actually the one for me. It was a 3-year training program. I would again develop more experience in a number of different areas, and at the end of my training, I could actually diversify in a sense. I could actually do loads of different things with general practice. And I found with general practice it was really good, because for me, one of the frustrations I found in the hospital was that there was lack of continuity of care sometimes, and you don't follow patients up sometimes, whether you're an A&E or even on the ward sometimes, unless you get reattenders, you may not see that patient again. And I really like the fact that in general practice you can follow people up, you get to know people. I wanted a base as well, so when you're training, you move around. You're in one area, one ward or one firm for 3 or 6 months, and you move around again, and you have to keep adjusting, which is great, but over the years it does take a toll on you, and it's difficult to form relationships with colleagues sometimes, and you lose touch with people who actually you really got on with. And for me, I wanted to be part of a close-knit team. I wanted to have a base. I didn't want to move around so much, and I felt that general practice would actually help me achieve that. And I felt with general practice I would be able to have a sustainable career, something that I think I would struggle with in the hospital. So before I move on to what I do now as a portfolio GP, I just wanted to go back a little bit to when I was applying to medical school, because I think there's something really important that I want to share with you. So as I said, I had really supportive parents despite my school not actually being well equipped to help me apply to medical school. One of the things I was able to obtain was work experience, which I know is very, very difficult for young people. So what we do at Dream Smart Tutors is we have partnered with a number of GP surgeries in East London and Kent. All you have to do if you want some work experience is really go to our website, the link is below, and sign up, and we will be in touch when we have a suitable placement for you. So I realise this video has been very long. It's longer than I intended it to be. Well done if you've stayed tuned right to the end. I really hope that you've gained something from my personal story. The next video, which is part 2 of this, is really just to talk about what I do now and to give you more of an insight into my career as a GP or portfolio GP.